Alright, so we're going to make a quick plan of this particular PDF. I have it right here in the screen, but you can also have it next to you printed out if you prefer to use that. So the process is going to be drawing an outline for the building and then drawing some guidelines to let us know where these walls are. And then we're going to offset some of the lines that we made based on the stud width, which is going to be 3.5 inches, I'm just going to assume. I'm also going to assume that these dimensions are going to a stud. This building was done in concrete, so it's going to the concrete walls, but we're going to assume that they're going to face a stud. So let's go ahead and get started. This building is 54'6" by 24'8". So first thing we're going to do is draw a rectangle. And first thing I want you to do is go to the layers and go to the layer pull down and change your layer from whatever layer it is to a wall stud. So you'll have to scroll down probably, but there should be an a wall stud right here, and pick that and make it current. That means that anything that we draw now will be on that layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a rectangle that's 54'6" by 28'4", or 24'8", sorry. So 54'6" by 24'8". So go to the rectangle command, pick a point, and then the @ symbol, and 54'6", comma, 24'8". So now we have a rectangle that represents the outside of that box. The next thing I'm going to do is offset this rectangle by 3.5 inches. So I'm going to go to the offset command right here, and I'm going to type in 3.5 for 3.5 inches. I'm going to pick this, and because it's a polyline, a rectangle is a polyline, it picks the whole thing. So I'm going to left click on it, and then I'm going to drag on the inside, and it's going to offset the entire polygon by 3.5 inches. So I'm just going to left click on the inside of that rectangle, and you'll see that it offsets the entire rectangle. So now I have a 3.5 inch wide line of stud line on the outside. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go in and I want to place some guidelines where these dimensions are for the walls. Okay, so I'm going to come in and do the vertical ones first, an 8'4", an 8 foot, 10'4". Okay, I'm going to change my layer again to layer 0 for this one. So all the way at the top, make that current, and I'm going to draw a line that goes a little bit above and a little bit below this as a guideline. So I'm just going to go to line, and I'm going to hover over the end of this and use my extension, which is running in my object snaps. So I have extension running here, and I'm going to acquire that point and just drag up, right, just a little bit, and left click, and then I'm going to draw a line that is a little bit below, and then I'm going to right click and enter to stop that command. And then what I'm going to do is use the offset to go 8'4", 8 foot, and 10'4". So again, offset command, and this one wants to be 8'4". So pick 8'4", select the object, drag in the direction you want to offset it, and left click. Now I can right click to end that command, right click again to repeat the offset, and set it to 8 foot, right? Pick it, drag in the direction, left click, right click, enter, right click, repeat offset, 10'4" is the next one. Pick the object I want to offset, drag in the direction I want to offset it, left click, enter to stop the command. So now we have 8'4", 8 foot, 10'4". We need one at 4'8", right? So I'm going to do the offset again, set it at 4'8", select the object I want to offset, drag it in the direction I want to offset. Now I could continue to do that and do 10'4" for the next one, but I'm going to copy it using these two as a distance because I know that that's 10'4". So I'm going to go to my copy command, select this object that I want to copy, right click to stop the selection set, left click on this point, and then as a base point, and left click on this as the displacement point. So now I know that that is 10'4". Right click and enter to stop the command. Now this distance is supposed to be 12'10", so let's double check that. Under the utilities is a measure. You go to measure, you can select that and you can pick the intersection and the endpoint of that, and in fact it is 12'10", so that's correct. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is add these horizontal lines here, right, that represent these two walls. So that's going to be 8'6", 8 foot, right? And these walls only go as far as this right here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw a line from about right here past the end. So if I go to the line command, if I just want to pick a point somewhere on this line, I can use the snap overrides with the shift right click, and you can let go of the shift key once you get the fly up menu out, and you can pick nearest, which you may not be able to see, but it's down here. Pick nearest and just pick somewhere on the line to the left of that second line and draw to the right, making sure it's horizontal, and left click. Right click and enter to stop the command. And now we're going to offset the 8'6" and the 8 foot. So again, offset command, 8'6", return, enter, return, repeat the offset, 8 foot, pick the item, drag in the direction, right click, enter to stop the command. So now I've got those two lines. Now this line really only needs to go to that line right there, so this middle line. So I'm just going to pick it and use the grips to drag it up. So if I pick it, it gives me these little blue grips, and if I left click on that grip, it makes it hot, and you can drag it. You just want to drag it somewhere kind of up there. Okay, so basically I'm just making an outline, right? So the only other lines that we need really, if we look at this guy, is this line, and that line. So this line needs to be 5'8" from the line that I just made, and then 14 foot. So I'm going to use the offset command, 5'8", right? And then repeat offset, 14 feet. And then these two guys are a little too long, but we'll go ahead and move those in a minute. We just need to remember that it's these two lines that represent that offset. So it's this offset right here, which I don't seem to see a dimension for, but we're just going to call it 5'8". So what I need is I need a line between here and here that's 5'8". So I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Enter to stop that. And I need it actually to be on the outside. It goes from the outside. So I'm going to move it. I'm going to go to move, and I'm going to pick that line, right click to stop the selection set, move it from that point to that point. And then I'm going to repeat the move, select that object again, right click to stop the selection set, and I'm just going to pick a point, drag up, making sure that the green alignment line is on, and type in 5'8". Okay, so now I've got all of my lines. The only thing I don't really like is that these two lines are overlapping. This should be clear. So I'm just going to pick them and use these to drag those lines up a little bit, just so I can see what's going on. Now what I want to do is I want to offset these lines 3 foot or 3.5 inches in the correct direction. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of them, and then I'll come back with them done, so you don't have to sit here and watch me offset them. So basically, these lines right here and right here and right here all need to be offset to the right for the 3'5", right? So I'm just going to go offset and type in let me do it from the command, offset 3.5 inches, right? And so again, we want these guys to be offset to the right. So I'm going to pick this guy and offset to the right. Pick this guy, offset to the right. Pick that guy, offset to the right. Right? And then let's look and see. Yeah, that final one, this one also needs to be offset to the right. Okay. Now these other ones need to be offset to the left because they change direction on the face of the stud, right? So I'm just going to pick this one, offset it to the left, pick this one, offset it to the left, pick that one, and offset it to the left, right? So now we've got those guys. Okay. Now this one, I'm just going to offset it down here, down, and then these guys need to be offset up, right? So if we look at that one needs to go up, up. So these guys need to be offset up, up, and offset up. Okay, so now we kind of have all our walls that we need, right, in order to make this particular floor plan, and we'll come back and put in the interior walls using these guidelines.